Hello everyone, that Manga Kid here to do my November 2022 manga haul. Gonna get right into it. First off, I found Kiki's Delivery Service, the DVD, the Disney DVD version, at my local Goodwill for $2. So that's awesome. Super excited about that. I really like Ghibli films. I just don't purchase them new because I'm just not that interested in owning them to pay that much money for them. But when I do find them at thrift stores, I for sure grab them. And I recently bought the manga of Kiki's Delivery Service at the same Goodwill a couple months ago, if you saw that haul, and just read it recently actually too. So finding the film is pretty fun. Next up, I'll go for some new series. First up is Anti-Romance. This is Shoko Hidaka. I own a few other works by Shoko Hidaka. I think it's, what is it called? Blue Morning or something is a long series. I own a one-shot volume, an older June title by her. There might be something else too, honestly, but maybe not. Anyway, so when I saw it with Shoko Hidaka, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to buy this, regardless of what it is. And this is a really nice volume put out by Seven Seas. Really good first volume so far. Also, it's got like a color page gallery, which I guess was a bonus separate like art book situation in Japan, but they put it in the back of this volume, which I think is really cool. And I hope that that's something that Seven Seas and maybe some other publishers will start doing, because we typically don't get those kind of extra bonus things in North America. But I think that was a good way to do it. Just throw it at the end of the first volume. I think it's enticing and been really nice for people. But yeah, no, this is a really good story about these two roommates who they've been living together for like 6 years. They've known each other for a long time, obviously, and there's definitely feelings there, but they don't really know or can't really articulate those feelings. And this is clearly going to be quite a slow burn. But I really, really liked the dynamic between the two of them. I liked the other people in their lives and how they're kind of like noticing this dynamic and trying to either keep it to themselves or trying to push these two together. Yeah, I really, really liked this. I like Shoko Hidaka, so I'm not surprised that I'm enjoying this, but I'm excited for the next volume whenever that comes out. Next up, I got a girl's love, actually. Catch These Hands. This is, again, press release. This was a cover buy. I just think that the cover design of these is stunning. I really, really love it. I think the character designs are great, and based just on the facial expressions, I can tell that I was going to like these characters a lot, and I really enjoyed these first two volumes. I've done a first impressions of this already on my channel. I don't know if it's up yet, probably not, but it will be out soon at some point. This is a great girl's love. These are high school rivals, because they were both kind of delinquent-esque people. They were rivals from rival schools, and they used to fight a lot. But now they're adults. They reunite unintentionally, and yeah, now they're dating. And I'm just going to leave it at that because the humor in this is fantastic. I laughed out loud so many times. I was showing panels to my sister, and we were laughing together at it, even though she had a little less context than I did. This is amazing. I'm really stoked about this series, and I cannot wait for more of it. I don't know how long it's going to be, but yeah, excellent, excellent, excellent series so far. Next up, I've got Avant-Garde Yumeko, Shuzo Oshimi. This is the title I've been waiting so long for. I honestly thought, based on the subject matter of this, as well as Sweet Poolside, that we would never get these older one-shot stories by Oshimi in English. I thought that the English market was just going to be like, let's pretend those didn't happen, and just continue publishing his newer stuff. So when this was announced, I pre-ordered it, and I was very, very excited for it. I also have a review on my channel of this. Whether or not it's out, again, I don't know. But yeah, this is basically a girl who is very obsessed with seeing a penis, and so she joins the art club because she thinks she'll be able to do nude drawings, nude portraits, in the art club in, I think, middle school. So she's a little bit off her rocker. Um, but yeah, it's funny. It's kind of a coming of age, as with most Oshimi titles. Um, yeah, definitely not for everybody, but if you don't take it too seriously, it's funny and it does kind of have something to say. So I really enjoyed this one, and this is a Kodansha release. Um, Next up, I got a couple more manhwa. Um, this is Artist, and I have Moms. This is the same creator as Moms. I've not yet read it though. It is on my shelf. It's on my TBR for sure. I just haven't gotten around to reading it yet. But when I saw this, I was like, this cover and everything about this is just like drawing me in here. Now I think this is like about an argument between these young people or something about what it means to be an artist. I don't really know, honestly. This is a drawn and quarterly release, and it's in full color. And it's kind of like it's a soft cover for sure, but it's kind of like a matte board sort of thing. Like it's thicker than a soft cover, more sturdy, I should say. But yeah, it looks interesting, and I'm excited to get around to it at some point. Another drawn and quarterly manhwa. I got Bad Friends by Anko. I did speak about this one before because I bought 19 and really enjoyed that one. And I said there was another title by Anko that Drawn and Quarterly released that I wasn't able to get my hands on at the time that I bought 19. So I don't really know anything about this one. I haven't read it yet, but I'm very excited to because I really enjoyed 19. It's very kind of underground, like the art style is just gritty and sort of alternative, and yeah, I'm excited to read this one and have it in my collection for sure. Next up, I got On or Off. This is another manhwa, or I guess technically it's like a web comic, I guess, but it is Korean. At least I'm like 99% sure it's Korean. Yep, that definitely looks like the characters there are Korean. But anyway, let me see. This is also full color, which I don't love full color stuff. I really appreciate the medium in black and white. However, there are certain series that the full color thing works for. This one is one of them. I actually quite enjoy the color aspect of this series. This is a gorgeous release by Tokyo Pop. I don't buy a lot of Tokyo Pop anymore because I find their titles, a lot of them are pretty generic, and I find the quality is not that great. But this one is oversized, and it actually opens to a point that you can read in, like, there's no writing in the creases of the book that you're trying to like decipher, and it is full color, like photo finish paper, so it's a heavy heavy one for how thin it is. It's really nice. It's got the embossed stuff on it. It's definitely a really nice release. But yeah, and this is one that I had been interested in a while ago online, actually, and I can't be bothered to read things on the computer. I can't. So I was like, oh, it's available obviously online. That's where it started. But yeah, it was one that always intrigued me. So when I came across it in a physical format, I went, oh, that's the thing I wanted to read a while ago. And yeah, so very good. This is a workplace kind of drama comedy situation about this young man who works in a tech startup who ends up kind of working under this big company that this guy is running, or at least he runs the department or whatever. But yeah, it's quite good and definitely explicit, so do be aware of that. Next up, I've got My Broken Mariko. I read this the other day, actually. I will do a review. I don't have one yet, but I will do one. And that is a 1-volume by Waka Hirako. This is a Yen Press hardcover, which I'm not going to rant about how much I hate Yen Press hardcovers here. I've done it enough on other videos. But in terms of the story, this is pretty good. It was different than I was expecting. It's about a girl or a young woman, I should say, whose best friend kills herself. And so she is kind of doing what she needs to do to deal with those feelings of guilt and um, sadness and grief and all of that. And it's pretty short. There is also a one shot, like short chapter that has nothing to do with anything in the back as well. So the actual main story is very short, but I really enjoyed it. I will definitely do a video on this, so you'll see more of my thoughts at that point. But it was good. I'm glad I got that finally. Next up, I got this massive, needlessly massive edition of Kamen Rider, the 50th anniversary edition. This is Seven Seas Classic Collection situation. This thing is so big. Like, I don't know. Like, great, I got to buy it in one go. Part of me is like, could we have made this two? Could we have made this 2 volumes? Because it's so big. I've not read this yet. I've been collecting a lot of the classic collection stuff that Seven Seas puts out, except a couple of them that I'm really not interested in. But for the most part, most of them intrigue me, if not for the really, retro artwork and, action scenes and all that kind of stuff. I'm excited to read this. I have no history with Kamen Rider. I have no expectations of this series or anything, which I'm kind of happy about, that I can go in completely fresh. I have no concept of any of this. I've heard of it, of course, but I've never consumed any sort of media related to it, never read a synopsis of it, don't really know anything about it, other than, obviously, it is a classic, well-loved series. I'm just trying to move books behind myself because they're just collapsing all over me. Yeah, so I'm excited to read this, and when I do, there will definitely be a review on it, but I think I don't know that I'm going to read that super duper soon. Next up, I got the 2 volumes, which I think is all of them, of Canis Dear Hatter. So these are excellent covers. Those are just gorgeous. These are Kuma releases. I do have Canis Dear Mr. Rain. I bought that originally when it first came out and really enjoyed it. And it's about a hatter. He owns a haberdashery, and he comes across this young man in the rain, and he brings him in, and turns out this guy has a bit of a darker past and secretive past than he's kind of aware of. And my understanding, I haven't read these yet, is that this goes a little bit more into the shadier dealings that was alluded to in that first original volume. So yeah, I think that these are so gorgeous. I really wish that, this one opens okay, but Kuma sometimes releases these like really tight, this one's not terrible, but like really, really tight like spines, so that it's kind of difficult to hold the book open. These ones aren't horrible, but they're still not super great. So I just find it difficult to read these titles sometimes. But anyway, I've not read them yet. Again, I will definitely do a review when I do. I think it's just 2 for these ones, but I know there's I'm like 99% sure there's another spin-off related to this series. So hopefully we'll get those as well. Next up, I got Denpa's Heavenly Delusion, Volume 3. I'm pretty sure Volume 4 is out now. I don't know why I didn't order it, but I didn't yet. This is Masakazu Ishiguro. This is a sci-fi series, clearly based on the cover. And it kind of follows 2 sides of things. There's like this weird incubator, like young people stuck in this science lab situation. And then there's these 2 who are out in the world. In the elements and in the destruction of society. I have a first impressions of this series on my channel. I really like it. I like sort of dystopian, apocalyptic sort of situations. I'm very curious about this one and where it's headed. But yeah, it's a pretty good title. Unfortunately, suffered from all of the release date pushbacks and everything. So I think if there was a lot of momentum on the series originally, which I don't think there was, but if there was any, I think that people may have fell off just because of how long it took to get Volume 2 and then 3 and whatnot. But anyway, I finally got volume 1 of Saint Young Men. This is Hikaru Nakamura. It's a Kodansha release in these horribly cheap hardcovers. But anyway, I owned, or I do own volumes 2 and 4 because I got them super cheap years ago. And finally, I just bit the bullet, and I got it way on sale, but still not as on sale as I would have liked for volume 1. So now I can at least read the first 2 volumes of it. Hikaru Nakamura did Arakawa Under the Bridge, which I love. Saint Young Men, I watched the anime for it years ago when it first aired. It's funny. It's funny as hell. I think the anime might lend itself a bit more to this title than the manga will, but I wanted to support Hikaru Nakamura, and I'm hoping that I do enjoy this in manga format. I know it's a bit wordy and it's got a lot of explanations. This is about Jesus and Buddha, and the Buddha living in an apartment in Tokyo, I believe. And it's ridiculous hijinks and stupidity. But yeah, I'm hoping that this is going to be enjoyable in manga format. Next up, I got, oh goodness. Okay, there we go. I got Alice in Borderland Volume 2 or Omnibus 2. I really like how the spines are going to all line up in this like cityscape. It already, with just 2 volumes, looks really wicked. So I can't wait to see what it looks like with all of them together. I don't think Alice in Borderland needs much of an explanation. Pretty sure I have a first impressions on my channel of this up already. But it looks like season 2 of the live action is coming to Netflix soon. I think I just saw that last night. So I'm excited for that because that's how I originally consumed the series, was that first season. Yeah, but pretty good so far. I did read this already. If you've read this, the devastating turn of events. But yeah, pretty good. Next up, Volume 4 of Fist of the North Star. I've still only read the first 2. This is ridiculous, classic beating up people and violence and whatever. I'm enjoying it. Again, I had no expectations of the series, same as Kamen Rider. No expectations, never done any research on it. I knew what it was, of course, but it's fun. It's fun to just go into these classic series completely with no expectations and just enjoy them for what they are, and not really read too much into it. But yeah, I think that these covers are so gorgeous. Like the rainbow sort of scheme of coloring on all of these covers is just so stunning. Yeah, I think they're just really, really beautiful covers, honestly. Next up, I've got volumes 8 and 9 of Gigant. This is Hiroya Oku, 7 Seas title. Volume 10 is the final one. I do have it pre-ordered. I'm excited for that to come in. This is, of course, the porn star Papiko gets this little device on her that she can turn herself giant, and she is involved with this high school boy who's our main character. So if you like Hiroya Oku, you'll probably like this one. I think it's stupid and funny and an enjoyable quick read because, as with other Hiroya Oku works, not a lot of dialogue, really, really fast-paced, a lot of action, a lot of ridiculousness. And I do quite enjoy it, and I am glad that we got it in English. Next up, I got volume 6 of Classmates. This is Classmates Blanc. This is like 2 volumes in one, more than 2. There's like 400 pages in this volume. And this is Asamiko Nakamura, one of my favorite creators. This is a really, really... I literally just read this volume like an hour ago. Very, very good. I am not sure if this is the last one. If it was, it wrapped it up really nicely. I just don't know if there's other spin-offs. I'd have to look into it because we've gotten, the original volume, the other 2 volumes that go along with it, plus the other 2 spin-offs, and then this one as well. So, yeah, I'll take any more. Like if there's more and they're releasing it, I'll take it. But if there's not, I think that this wrapped up the story really beautifully. And yeah, I love Classmates. I'm not going to open it because I don't want to spoil anything. It's pretty far in the series at this point. But yeah, if you like BL series, you've not given this a chance. It's so, so wonderful. And I think that I've said this before. Asumiko Nakamura has a very, very, very beautiful way of like creating atmosphere and flow, and just like with the wispiness of her artwork. Um, it just like really conveys certain emotions and feelings and the whole atmosphere of everything. And I just really love reading her works. Speaking of creators I really enjoy, we got Even Though We're Adults by Takako Shimura. This is volume 5. Um, I did read this already when I originally got it. This is one that when it comes in, I read it the day it comes in. This is a girls' love series about these two adult women who meet and hit it off, and lo and behold, one of them is married to a man. And so it's just kind of navigating those feelings of, okay, I'm an adult. I thought I had my life planned out. I got married already. I found this man that I love. I'm starting a life here. And all of a sudden, this woman comes into my life, and these feelings that I never really knew existed in myself are now coming to the surface. And can I continue my life as it was, knowing that these feelings exist? And yeah, if you don't like stories about cheating, it's probably not for you. But I think there's a little more nuance to this than just like, oh, I'm cheating on my partner kind of thing. I think that I don't know. I really enjoy it personally. I like Shimura's artwork, and I really like her storytelling. I would say this series is probably her best one in terms of like the the flow of it, because while Wandering Sun is one of my favorite, or it is probably my favorite manga ever, Wandering Sun and Sweet Blue Flowers, she does this weird thing where she like jumps around scenes without any context or information about the fact that she's doing that. So there'll be like a conversation happening, and then on the next page, all of a sudden, it's like 2 days later, and it's a bunch of different characters in a different place, and you're like, what? We didn't even finish that last conversation. What happened? And Sweet Blue Flowers does that as well, where it just jumps around to different days and times and people and whatever, and you're like, we were in the middle of a scene. Did the printing go wrong and I'm missing pages? Like, what's happening? But this one, I don't find as much that it's doing that, and maybe because the cast of characters is so small, because both of the other series have relatively large casts of characters, whereas this one really focuses on just these two women. And so I think that maybe that has something to do with the flow of it being a little bit, the pacing and the flow being a little bit better. But anyway, I really do enjoy this, and always excited when a new volume comes in. I have no idea how long it's supposed to be, though. I should probably look that up. I don't know if it's still ongoing or not, but anyway. Next, I got Bakemonogatari. I got volumes 8 and 9, which I just finally back purchased them. They were out of stock forever. I had them digitally, so I was able to read them and continue the series, but I just wanted to obviously own them because I own the series physically. And then I also got volume 16, which this cover creeps me out. I do not like this cover. His face is just creeping me out anyway. But yeah, so I finally got the two that I just, when I do that and I have digital volumes like that, and I'm like, oh, I already read it. Why do I need to go back and buy it anytime soon? And then I'm like putting it off for over a year. But anyway, finally bought them. I was being good, back purchased the stuff that I've been meaning to buy forever, and then also got volume 16. I did not read 16 yet, but I did read 15. So really enjoying the series. I would say, honestly, even if you've never watched the anime or read the light novels or anything, the manga is a really excellent way to consume this story. I have watched the anime. I have the light novels digitally, and I have been reading them and enjoying them as well. But the manga is, a really amazing way to consume the story because O Great's artwork is fantastic. Next up, I got volume 5 of Asadora. I've still only read the first 2 volumes of this. I don't know why. I really loved them. This is Naoki Urasawa, of course. The designs of these books is incredible. The spines look great. I love the simple design on the back of each volume. But yeah, it's a young female pilot. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot more twists and turns and whatever going on in this story because that's what Urasawa does. So I'm excited to keep reading it. I just, for some reason, haven't picked up the 3 other volumes that I own of it to read them. So next up, I got volume 3 of Life Lessons with Uramichi Onisan. This is Gaku Kuze. It is a Kodansha release, and this is fantastic. I've not read this particular volume yet. I do have a first impressions, I believe, of the very first volume on my channel. This is a 30 or 31-year-old guy who's miserable. He works at a children's show, and it's just like deadpan comedy about how miserable adulthood is, while he's in this scene of working with children on TV, and it's just hilarious. And if you're ever in a bitter mood about life in general, it is a great pick-me-up for sure. Next, I got volume 13 of Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro. This is one of my favorite ongoing series at the moment. Might be my favorite ongoing series at the moment. It's just fantastic. I love the dynamic between our Nagatoro and our main character. This is just a really cute romantic comedy. She teases him a lot, but at this point in the story, 13 volumes in, like it's so obvious to everybody that the two of them like each other, and it's pretty obvious to the two of them that they like each other, but they still are so immature they can't really do anything about it. But they're so cute. I just love them. It's so funny. I laugh out loud every volume, and I love the artwork, and it's just charming and adorable, and I don't really have anything negative to say about it, honestly. Next up, I got volumes 8 and 9 of Phantom Tales of the Night. I think I'm on volume like 7 or something of this. This is a dark sort of fantasy story about this yokai dude who owns an inn, and he invites people to stay over at his inn in exchange for their secrets. And it's one of those things where, like, be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it, and not in the way that you expected. As you can tell from the covers, the art is stunning and really, really, I love stories like this. I don't like fantasy stories much at all, but things like this, these dark fantasy where, like, people get screwed over because they want something and then they get what they want, but not in the way that they wanted it. I really like stories like that. And yeah, so this is a favorite for sure, as well, in terms of ongoing titles. Next, I finally got my hands on those Not So Sweet Boys. So I had volumes 1 and 2, read them ages ago and loved them. And now I got volumes 3 through 7, which I am confused. And if you have an answer, please let me know. Volume 7 says final volume on the back. Yet, for some reason, everywhere I search, I can find pre-orders for volumes 8 and 9. So I'm just a little confused about how many volumes this is. Are those extra volumes? Is it a mistake? It was printing final volume on there a mistake? I don't know. Because I got to the end of volume 7 because I knew that there was a pre-order for volumes 8 and 9, so I just was assuming that, I was reading volume 7, and at the end of it, it said the end. And then I looked on the back and it said final volume. And I went, what the hell? Like, I thought there was more volumes coming out. So, very confused. If you know anything, please let me know. Because I just don't understand what's going on with that. So, really, really enjoyed reading this. It's about this girl who has a part-time job, and she's not supposed to because she's in school, and her principal makes her a deal that if she goes and gets the delinquent, they're not really delinquents, but she goes and gets the 3 boys who skip school constantly to come to school and enjoy school life, that he will let her continue working at her job. And so she obviously strikes up a friendship with these 3 boys who are very rich, and are staying away from school for various reasons. You get to learn about them, their backstories, why they're behaving the way they do, and you watch her kind of bring out a softer side to them, and let them kind of experience the world around them a little more. And what I find interesting about this one is that a lot of the times with shoujo titles, it's like the dorky, um, you know, nobody girl, and the boy is popular and brings, um, you know, brings out the girl's qualities of, friendliness and whatever by like introducing her to people and getting her, more acclimatized to things. But this one was like these three boys, while yes, they're handsome and clearly popular because they're handsome, they're feared for many reasons. And she, through friendship with her, like she's able to kind of smooth out the relationships of the classmates towards these guys. And um, I think it was just really, no pun intended, it was a really sweet story that I quite enjoyed. So yeah, anyway, it's a fun one, and please do let me know if you know if 7 is the last one or what the deal is with that. Next up, I got volumes 2 and 3 of Captain Harlock. I just finished volume 1 about an hour ago, and really, really enjoyed it. I like Leiji Matsumoto. Volume 1 was out of stock for, I think, over a year. And I honestly thought it was out of print, and I was really upset because these two were still in print, and I didn't buy them because I went, you know what, if it never comes back, like, I don't want to have spent all this money on these two only to never get volume 1 or have to wait years and years and years to try and find it on the used market for a decent price. But thankfully it came back in stock, and I just bought all 3. So I really loved Queen Emeraldus. Still liking Queen Emeraldus better, but I definitely am liking Captain Harlock better than Space Battleship Yamato, which I haven't finished yet. But yeah, it's space pirates. Space pirates. And it's hilarious, and the art is amazing, and I really enjoy it. It's another 7 Seas classic collection. But yeah, I'll finish this probably before I get to Kamen Rider for sure. But I really love the like tech sort of stuff. It's just really cool. I love Leiji Matsumoto. These are really, really great, intriguing stories, and I've been really getting into more stories about space in the past couple years and really appreciating them more. So yeah, a lot of fun space pirate adventures. Next up, oh goodness, next up, finally the last colossal edition of Attack on Titan. This is number 7. I'm on number 6, which they have 5 volumes in them. This one does not. I think this one might have 4, maybe 3 or 4 volumes in it. But yeah, I think I'm on like the 3rd volume within the 6 omnibus or colossal edition. So I don't know. I've got like 1, 2, 3, 4. I have about 6, maybe 5 or 6 volumes of content left of Attack on Titan. It's not my favorite thing. I've watched the anime, the first season of the anime years ago. I think I watched season 2, but I don't remember. And that first like initial bit of the story really, I've watched that first bit of the anime many times, and I've wanted to read the manga only because I can't get those first little bits out of my head. They're really, really intriguing to me, and I consistently want to consume that part of the story. And so when the colossal editions were coming out, I went, you know what, I'm going to just buy these. I think they're really cool. I think it's a really interesting way to own this series, obviously based on the subject matter. They take up significantly less shelf space in terms of width because, like I said, this one's probably like 4 volumes, but the other ones are 5, and it just saves so much space in terms of the width of them than if I was to buy the 30-something volumes in the single editions, or even those 3-in-1 omnibuses. But yeah, this later half of the story I don't care too much about, but I will finish it, and I'm not upset that I own it. I think I'll read that first omnibus with the 5 first volumes in it probably pretty regularly over the years, because like I said, I've consumed that part of the story many, many times. But yeah, I'm excited to finally have the last of this so I don't have to buy any more of these. And I am interested to see how this ends. I am legitimately fascinated to see how this story wraps up. But yeah, I don't know how long it'll be before I actually read that. And finally, I did something stupid. I don't regret it. In fact, I'm quite happy with my decision, but it doesn't mean it's not stupid. So I mentioned, I think last month, that I was reading Beck, Mongolian Chop Squad, because I own the first 15 volumes digitally, and I also actually own 4 of the random old Tokyo Pop volumes. But anyway, Beck found a lot on eBay of the Japanese volumes, and there's 34 of them. And I've been studying Japanese. My goal is to be able to buy and just read manga in Japanese so that I don't have to keep paying these ridiculous English translated prices, and also have access to series that clearly nobody cares about publishing fully in English physically. So so I bought I bought the 34 volumes of Beck, which these spines look wicked together. If I had room on my shelves to actually put these, they'd look great, but I don't at the moment. So but this is about a young boy named Koyuki. He's in middle school. I think he's like 14, maybe 15. And he decides that he is going to start playing guitar. And he meets this guy who just came back from America. He is Japanese, but he was living in America. And he's a teenager, and he's kind of a rebel. And he gives him a guitar. And he ends up joining this band that this guy's in, and it's a romantic. It's got romance, it's got violence, it's got comedy, it's got drama. It's really great, and I love. Obviously, those are not in order, but like the spines are just wicked. The colors are awesome, and it's so. I'm really happy that I own this. Did I need to buy this in this moment when I can't read it fully? No, I didn't need to do that, but I did it anyway. So that's where I'm at with my own self-control. But I am happy to now own this series because it really is incredible. I think this is something, that is a real shame that it was never finished physically in English. You can buy it digitally. Kodansha's got a license. Obviously, Tokyo Pop went under before it was finished. I think maybe like 14 of them or something were published physically by Tokyo Pop before they went under. And then, Kodansha got the digital license and has it all out digitally. But yeah, I wasn't really keen on not having physical copies of this because it's so incredible. I also own the anime. I've watched it several times. It's just an incredible story. It really, really is. And I obviously with the anime, it doesn't go very far into the story. It's 34 volumes long. The anime is only like, I don't know. I think it's more than 12 episodes. I think it might be like 20 or something. But anyway, it doesn't cover the whole series. So I've never consumed the entire series before. And I'd really like to. So I bought this for pretty cheap, actually. The volumes are not in the best condition. There's, some staining and whatever, but they're all readable. They're all in one piece. There's no ripping or anything. There's some water damage, I think, on one of them and whatnot, but I got these for so cheap that even with the import duties and taxes and stuff I had to pay on them to get them into Canada, it really was not much of anything at all. So, there's 34 volumes of Beck, Mongolian Chop Squad. I'm excited to one day be able to read these. That's all I got to say about that. So I would tell you that after buying 3 series in Japanese already, this is the 3rd. I would love to tell you that my self-control is rock solid and I didn't already purchase more manga in Japanese off eBay. But I'd be lying. I'd be lying to you if I said that. So expect some more in the next month or so. Yeah. So I'll leave you with that. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you saw something that interests you, let me know. If you have any questions, comments, concerns about any of the stuff that I've shown, also let me know. If you know anything about those not so sweet boys, please let me know, because I don't know what's going on with that. But yeah, anything in here that is either completed or new to my collection, in terms of like a first volume or whatever, I'll either have a first impressions or a full review on my channel at some point in the near future. So look out for that. Thank you for watching.